In Washington, a surprising announcement from the White House has reignited global attention on the Middle East. On October 8, 2025, during an Oval Office exchange with reporters, US President Donald Trump hinted that he may personally travel to the region within days as negotiations for a long-awaited ceasefire between Hamas and Israel edge closer to a breakthrough. The president told reporters that peace in the Middle East was not just an abstract goal, but, in his words, a beautiful phrase that might now be within reach. Speaking in a measured but optimistic tone, he said, "Peace in the Middle East, it's a nice phrase and we hope it comes true, but it's very close. We have a great team there, great negotiators, and they unfortunately have great negotiators on the other side as well. But I think it's something that will happen, that has a good chance of happening. I may go there toward the end of the week, maybe Sunday actually, we'll see, but there's a good chance it will happen. The negotiations are progressing very well. The remarks came after days of intense shuttle diplomacy by senior US negotiators who have been working alongside Egyptian and Qatari mediators in Cairo and Doha. The talks are focused on creating a phased halt to cross-border hostilities, establishing a framework for humanitarian aid deliveries into Gaza, and setting the stage for the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. Trump's suggestion that he might personally travel to the region underscored the urgency of the moment. For decades, American presidents have sent envoys to negotiate in the Middle East, but direct involvement at such a delicate stage has been rare. By saying maybe Sunday, Trump signaled a willingness to stake his personal political capital on achieving a breakthrough. Officials familiar with the discussions say the proposed truce would begin with a comprehensive ceasefire monitored by regional partners and the United Nations, followed by coordinated deliveries of food, fuel, and medical supplies into Gaza. In exchange, Israel would pause its military operations and Hamas would begin releasing hostages in staggered phases. Diplomats stress, however, that final details remain unresolved. The humanitarian stakes are enormous. Months of conflict have devastated Gaza's civilian infrastructure, with thousands of casualties and widespread displacement. Aid agencies warn that the territory's hospitals and shelters are on the brink of collapse. A ceasefire would not only halt the immediate violence, but also allow relief efforts to reach hundreds of thousands in urgent need. For Washington, the possibility of a presidential visit adds weight to the US role as a mediator. It could also provide a symbolic boost to Trump's claim of leadership in international diplomacy at a time when his foreign policy record is under close scrutiny. A successful visit and a tangible agreement could reshape the political conversation in both the Middle East and the United States. Yet the announcement was met with caution. Veteran diplomats and regional analysts have noted that public optimism often precedes difficult setbacks in the Middle East peace process. Even if a truce is signed, implementing and sustaining it will require cooperation from all parties, along with robust monitoring to prevent renewed clashes. Still, Trump's words, especially his comment that there was a very good chance the negotiations would succeed, reflected a rare note of confidence from a US president on an issue that has defied resolution for decades. His praise for the great team of negotiators on both sides underscored his belief that diplomacy, rather than force, might deliver a breakthrough. The announcement also came at a moment of heightened diplomatic activity. In recent weeks, envoys from the United States, Egypt, Qatar, and the United Nations have been holding round-the-clock meetings aimed at bridging final gaps between the Israeli government and Hamas. While neither side has released official statements confirming a deal, insiders suggest that the remaining disputes involve security guarantees and timelines for implementing the agreement. On the ground, hopes for peace remain fragile. In Gaza, families have endured relentless airstrikes and shortages of basic necessities. In Israel, communities near the border have been living under the constant threat of rocket fire. Both populations are weary and desperate for a lasting truce, yet wary of promises that in the past have been short-lived. International reactions to Trump's remarks have been mixed. European leaders welcomed signs of progress, but emphasized that any sustainable peace must address the root political issues, including the status of Gaza and the security concerns of Israel. Regional actors like Egypt and Qatar have remained publicly cautious, focusing instead on facilitating the technical details of the deal. Analysts say the coming days will be critical. If Trump does decide to travel to the Middle East, his visit could either accelerate a final agreement or risk disrupting delicate negotiations by raising expectations too high. The timing, the optics, and the reception he receives in the region will all play a part in shaping the outcome. For now, the focus remains on the negotiating table, where both sides face mounting pressure to end the violence. As Trump put it, peace in the Middle East, it's a beautiful phrase, but one that has often slipped from reach. Whether it can become a reality this time may depend as much on trust and verification as on high-level political gestures. As the world watches, attention turns to the end of the week and the possibility that the US president will step onto a plane bound for the Middle East. Should that happen, it will mark one of the most significant American interventions in the conflict in recent years and a crucial test of diplomacy at a time when, as Trump insisted, the prospect of peace feels very close.
Peace for the Middle East. It's a beautiful phrase, and we hope it's going to come true, but it's very close, and they're doing very well. We have a great team over there, great negotiators, and there are unfortunately great negotiators on the other side also. But it's something I think that will happen, got a good chance of happening. I may go there sometime toward the end of the week, maybe on Sunday, actually, and we'll see. But there's a very good chance negotiations are going along very well.